Hey guys, Karan Bava here. Today I'm going to go through a project management software that I'm super passionate about. It's called Monday.com. No, this is not a sponsored video, but I kind of wish it was. But it's something that I'm super passionate about, and something I preach every day to people who don't have it, especially creatives. Creatives, filmmakers such as myself. I find it super helpful in either organizing all the projects that are ongoing on my end, but also storing all the ideas I have as well. I don't only use this for projects, I use this day to day for my ideas, for everything else possible. So I want to steer away from other videos that show the general features of this software and show you two different scenarios where this is useful to me. One as a writer / storyteller, and another as a freelancer. So let's get right into it. Okay, so let's see what's on the freelance side of things. So I've created a new board and I've named it 2021 freelance projects, with of course the description January 2021 to December 2021. And let's get right into it. So I've already created this board, and it's something that I've worked on for years now, on seeing what values are actually important to the project and what's useful to me looking at a project that's either coming up or that I've completed, in the past as well. So let's get right into it. I've put in these hypothetical projects. So let's call the first one the naming can campaign. This is branching on the Coca-Cola campaign of all the the awesome soft drink cans they have with people's names on it. Love that campaign. Let's just say that they hired me to do a video about it. So that's a project that I'll put into my July 2021 stem. And so I want to go through these columns one by one and explain to you why I've put them in. The first column, completed. It's a column that I think is super important right at the front, especially when I have heaps of projects that are coming up or that I've done. It's good to see what I've already completed from the get-go. So, and what I mean by completed is that it's edited and it's all sent to the client and the client has approved it. So let's skip these two columns. So let's get right into the first thing that's useful is a brief. So this is a document that I'll put in that I could look back in the future. Is a document where this is the actual project brief that the client has sent me. This could include screenshots of emails or some contracts or any document that could actually aid me in understanding what this project is about. The next column, sub items. This is something that I'll get back to as well. This is in regards to multiple exports that would be inside one project, instead of creating multiple projects. Say this video, they need like 10 videos. I don't want to put 10 stems on there, just spamming my whole project list. I'm going to put one project in, and I'm going to put 10 sub items in there and give links to these videos. Let's go into this column, stage, that I've put in, and the values of this status column is what production stage this project is in. So is it in conversation? Is it in pre-production, in production, post-production? Is it being, am I waiting review of my edits and waiting for them to come back to me, or is it completed? So that's the kind of values I have in that sort of column. So content type, am I giving them videos, photographs, a bit of both, separate audio, design, or documents? It really depends on the project. Let's just say for this project's sake, we're giving them videos and photographs. The genre of the content, so this is something you can really lay down what kind of project this really is. So the name you can campaign, let's call this a social media kind of video. This is what I'm actually producing for them. And the requirements they need from me, do they want me just to film and edit? So they want me to just do production and post-production, or they want me to do the whole shebang and do pre-production, production, and post-production. So all the way from the start to the finish. So let's put that in. Who is the client? So this is a text column. So the variety of text columns that are coming in right now. So who's the client? It's going to be Coca-Cola. The contact there. This one I can actually put in an email as well. Let's just say let's say there's someone else with the same name at Coca-Cola. Let's call them this person here. Their phone number, so you can put in the phone number of that person. This actually becomes a really good CRM system where you can put in everything you need to just easily contact someone. The due date of this project, so I'm going to make this 31st of August. Let's give it 2 months to complete. The shoot date of this project, I'm going to go back to July actually. Let's say the shoot date was from 16th to the 22nd of July. The location, Coca-Cola, let's make it The location is Coca-Cola headquarters. Let's put that in there now. Awesome. And I've actually started logging in hours of each project, just so it can give me an idea of future projects of how long I've taken to do them. So pre-production, let's say I took 3 hours in pre-production just writing up scripts and storyboards for this project. And then I go into the status of the production. Am I waiting to get into it? Is it partially done? Or is production complete? Has filming finished? So I'm going to say yes there. And how long did the production take? Let's just say it was 3 8-hour days. So that's going to be 24 hours. Awesome. We're going into the post-production stage now. Is it logged? Is it, started the assembly of the edit? Or have we finished it? So I'm going to say finished in this sense. And as I'm putting in, yes here and yes here, I've actually programmed the progress bar, which is right at the front. Look at that, right at the front. It actually automatically fills in as I'm completing set tasks in this project. So the settings of this column is I can actually program it. So it takes into account the stage of the production, which is completed, is production done, is post-production done, and is the invoice paid. So I'm just going to save this real quick. So that's a really cool thing to take note of as I'm going through several projects, to see which part, like how long I've got left to go and how much of that project I've already done. So cool. All right, how long did it take me in the post-production side of things? Let's say it took me let's say it took me a full week to edit this. So let's put in 40 hours. Damn, that's a big project. So just keeping in check of all these, logging in all these hours is super useful in the future. Just figuring out how many hours you actually worked on this project, just to help you quote for future projects. Okay, let's get into the project file column. So this is a file column. This is something that's super useful. I actually add in my project files. Say it's a Premiere Pro project, a DaVinci project, an After Effects file, just so I have everything in check. Say my laptop burns down, the house burns down, the hard drive malfunctions, I have the project file in Monday.com, which is super useful. And it's also a really cool thing to have when I'm switching between laptops and computers, from work and from home, and just having to access that file. I've added a couple more columns here. This is the location of all my assets. So this is a website or a link column. So I actually use Google Drive to put in all my proxies of every project I do, just so I don't lose it. And this is a place online where I put all the assets, such as graphics, such as music. So I just put in a link of where all those assets are located. And the same with delivery, whether it's on YouTube or Vimeo, where the client can view this video. It's really handy going back to projects and finding the location of where I can actually view them. And so this is another column for the invoice, just as a file management thing. Just a proof of the invoice there. And invoice paid, is it paid already? Is it partially paid, or am I just waiting for the invoice to be paid? So let's just say it's paid, and that actually contributes to, look at this cool confetti. That actually contributes to the progress bar up front. Now it's at 100%, and once that's at 100%, I usually just mark that project as completed, because now everything is all in check, everything is all done. And as I'm skimming through all these projects that are on these boards, I can just see what's completed. And so let's finish off over here. This is more of a numbering game where I've added some number columns in regards to the profits of this project. Let's say I earned 2 million, it's a bit too much, $2 million dues for this project, and the expense was, it's a very expensive project. I traveled 1 kilometer, and the toll amount, oh my god, it's Sydney, so the toll was probably $50. So yeah, this is just a super hypothetical project, of course, but this is really good for tax time. Just seeing how much I made that month, or the expenses that month, how much my car traveled that month, and the toll amount of all the tolls, just to add up everything, have everything in check. There's so much more I can add to this, but this is a really good basis of what's really helpful for each project. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Something else I can do is really cool, is I can actually go into this project and write some updates. For example, clients actually asked to redo this project again. I can update that I can go into in the future. It actually pops up here, which is really cool. It'll show me my activity log as well of what I've changed which is really cool. You know, you can see when I went from pre-production to post-production, it was 9 minutes ago. Wow, how cool was that? And then info boxes. This is where I usually add some files where I don't want to display on the project. These are files like contracts, some legal stuff that, you know, that could just be in the back end of this project. I've added a couple of other hypothetical projects here, like, you know, new Nike shoes, a product video that I would want to complete, and a testimonial myself, you know, talking about Monday.com and how cool it is. But yes, this is pretty much my kind of workflow on, you know, as a freelancer using Monday.com. It's something super cool. I'm a big fan of these colors. I'm a big fan of how everything's laid out and how flexible it is and how customizable it is for me as a creative going through these projects. And now moving on to the other side of things, where I use the software for all my ideas, for all my storytelling, for all my writing. I've created a new board. I've actually named it with the vomit table, version 2. The reason I called it the vomit table is because, you know, ideas just come like a vomit. I know it's the worst analogy ever, but it works for me. An idea can come at any time, you know, with an amazing amount of force. I don't want to get too much into it, but that is the name I put into it so far. And the description I put in for the moment is ideas, 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 because this is for ideas as a writer / storyteller. So I've created a new board. I've already named it short films. And say I get an idea about a film that involves a can of baked beans, but I want to put a Star Wars twist on it. So let's name it Baked Beams instead. No, it has nothing to do with the use of drugs or anything at all, but it's to do with a can of baked beans in the Star Wars universe. Crazy idea, I know, but I'm going to create a new column, and one of the columns that I love so much, which is one of the essential columns, is status. Instead of using the default statuses, which is, you know, done, stuck, or working on it, I'm going to customize these and make this the, I guess, the genre of what I want to, sorry, let me go back to this and call it genre. This will make it easy for me to label what kind of film this is. So let's write in a couple of genres. So I'm going to say sci-fi, let's say horror, let's call this blue one rom-com. You know, I'm just going on a whim here. I can of course customize these colors to make them some other color that I love. What else? Some cool genres. Let's say action, and just one last one, just as an example. Let's put in thriller. Perfect. Cool. I'm going to try adding another column here, and this would be almost like a sub-genre. There's always 2 genres, I believe, in every single kind of film. For example, Baked Beams, I want to make this a comedy, but also a sci-fi short film. So the main genre is, of course, sci-fi, but the subgenre, oh, I didn't add comedy here. Let's add comedy. Let's make it pink. I want to make this a sci-fi and comedy short film. And the next couple of columns I add are just to write down some initial thoughts, some initial ideas. So we're going to go with the classic who, what, why, when, where, how. All right, so let's go through these real quick. Who? Let's say this is a small Skywalker. What happens? Tries to open a can of baked beans with a lightsaber. Wow. Sounds great. When does it happen? Actually, let's make this to be in the 50s, 1950s. You know, something that's not really heard of, I guess. Thereabouts. Let's make it in the supermarket. And why? Why are they doing this? Because there is no other way to open these baked beans. Baked beans, literally, I had one idea, and from these questions that I put in, I've just, fleshed everything out. And the best thing about this is that this is not in my head anymore. It's all written down, and it's something I can access on my laptop and on my phone at any time. And I can just, fill the information along as I go. And how does this even happen? Praying to the Jedi Council for a lightsaber? I don't know. And something happens in regards to them, denying them at first. Maybe Yoda appears. No idea, but this is something that's on the top of my head. I can of course go back and flesh out these ideas further, but this is something that's super solid. I can always come back to this, tomorrow, 3 weeks from now, 10 years from now, and just check this out. I love the coloring. I love the how it's all just organized, and it's not in a notepad on my phone or anything. It's actually organized in a way that I like and in a way that I've created. So there you have it. Those are the 2 different scenarios how I use this project management software. One as a writer / storyteller, and another as a freelancer. So let me know what you guys think, and if it's something you would consider hopping onto if you haven't already, and how you would use it in your own profession. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.